I wanted to read a comment from a person, and you know, they go by different names, so it's not a name of a person. It's just their what they go by on YouTube and stuff like that. But I wanted to read you their question because I think it's appropriate or pertinent to the vast majority of people in this world at this particular time. So I'm going to read it directly from my iPad. It says, Mr. John, please share your view on the concept of no thought, no personal memory, no identity, and just living in the here and now. Why is it important, and why this stuff does not seem to work when I try to? The reason it doesn't work when you try it is because you are a real souled essence and not a, what do they call them? NPCs? Anyways, you're not a demon. You're not a created individual from Shiva or Satan. You started your journey in this reality just like I did, just like Jesus did, just like God the Father that you pray to, Brahma. That's how you started your existence in this particular reality. Granted, it has been billions, if not trillions of years ago that they started their journey, as well as you. But I wanted to let you know this is why you're having problems experiencing that. To experience the living in the now and the know you, blah, 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 all of that sort of things, that cannot be experienced by a real essence, a real sovereign, uncreated being such as yourself. Cannot experience it. Let me explain the concept of the now. It is ludicrous to say the least, because I'm kind of rambling here, but if you take a box, that's not the real way, but if you take spiritual evolution and the universe's evolution from the time it came into creation till today, that is a existential reality, and you can go back to the beginning of the universe and move forward through it, and then you can reduce it to no time, no existence. But then if you jump from that entire existence, which is the only existence that is known by all spiritual leaders, it's the only time that's known, it's the only existence known, unless you are a highly spiritually enlightened being. Dare I say, Buddha didn't know anything beyond that, which is exactly why he didn't speak of God in such, because he did not transcend this particular reality and then had the same experience that others are having, that you are not having. I mean, contemplative thought, because what we're dealing with here transcends all of reality. What we're dealing with here transcends this physical reality, this spiritual reality, and into the, well, Brahman, the unknown darkness reality. And dare I say, if you want to know a little bit about that. A good friend of mine sent a question a few days ago, several days ago, asking about the nature of Brahman, Brahman, Brahman. And I have known about the nature of Brahman for quite some time now. I'm thinking back. I don't write this stuff down, by the way, when these things happen, but I learned of the nature of Brahman basically in an instant. I'm trying to think, maybe 8-9 years ago, somewhere in there. And it took several years to investigate that even further before I had a fairly good grip on what it is. Ancient Hinduism talks about this to a degree that leads me to believe that the writers, the original authors, understood the nature of Brahman. When I say understood, nobody fully understands the nature of Brahman. Nobody. Not Jesus, not Krishna, not Buddha. Nobody fully understands the nature of Brahman. Does Brahma understand the full nature of Brahman? I don't know. If I find out someday, I will tell you, but I don't know if Brahma understands the full nature of Brahman. And the reason I say that is because I'm 100% sure, because God has revealed this to me, that I would say one of the main purposes for this creation that Brahma created is for this particular God that we love created this so that he could know you. He could understand you. He could understand me. Because when you exist, and I say the word inside, but inside is not an accurate word. There is absolutely no word that I'm aware of, or no, maybe I could use a bunch of phrases to try to assimilate some sort of understanding of Brahma, but I say you cannot know what's inside of Brahma because God created this reality so that God would know you. God would know us. God does not know us when we are inside Brahman. God does not know us because we don't know us, because we don't know what we are yet, because we haven't developed. This is hard to explain to people, but Jesus tried to define the nature of our souls by saying we are like a seed. But that's, again, an attempt to define without being accurate, but to the feeble-minded people, not only at that time, but at this time, at least you can understand the concept of a seed, that when you look at it, without allowing it to grow and develop, you don't know what it is. For instance, you could take the greatest scientists in the world that have never seen assuming they've never seen a particular plant or tree or whatever it is, and then you see the seed of that particular plant or tree, Science cannot tell you what it is going to be when it develops, when it grows. When you water it and give it sunlight, etc., you have to wait and see until it develops. And then from that point forward, you always know when you see that seed exactly what it's going to develop into. But prior to it actually developing, you don't know what it is. You don't know what it's going to turn into. Every single human being in existence, and I might go back further because every living creature, every living entity, everything has its beginning from the nothingness of Brahman. And we are in the process of being developed. That's how God knows us. God sees the end result of what we grow into. We will either grow into being something just like Brahma, which means you will be one with Brahma, or you'll be divergent in some way as Shiva is, or as Lucifer. And then when the kalpa of time is over, you are no longer with God, with Christ, with me. I know that's a long story, but if you're curious about the nature of Brahman, I will send you what I wrote. I finished writing it yesterday and sent it I sent it to Jonathan and I sent it to Benjamin. Not that Benjamin asked for it, but he's an incredibly inquisitive mind and ceaselessly growing and developing and asking questions. And so I endlessly supply this young man with anything and everything I have. Not that he understands it, but nevertheless, he's got a loving heart and soul, and so he's susceptible for learning. I think this video is going to be fairly short, but I wanted to address that. And it probably seems as clear as mud, but I just wanted you to know that there are people, for instance, getting back to why you don't know, why you can't experience the now, and other people can. The concept of living in the now twists the mind and brains of human beings that are of the essence that I was talking about as a seed. It twists your mind and brain because you think it applies or can apply to you because other people say it applies to them. But you are not like them. That's the problem. Because it's like digital. In a digital reality, there is a now because there is a snapshot of the now. And then you can take the future and you can take the past and roll them all into the now. But the problem with that digital theory is the now changes. My phone is doing weird stuff. These new phones have AI stuff built into them now, and they do crazy shit. But I'm not telling you something you don't already know. The problem with the now is it is digital. It assumes that you are existing in Brahman, which you are, but it denounces the creation of God, Brahma. It renounces the love of God. It renounces the teaching and love of Christ. It renounces all that has been created for your benefit. It's basically a slap in the face to a loving God that has created everything because this God loves you. Because in Brahman, everything is the now. In Brahman, there is no progress. There is no past, future. There's only the now. But Brahma created a reality that we observe where time can pass, allowing you the opportunity to grow like a seed, to develop. Brahma saw that there was no way for you to develop into your potential while remaining in a catatonic state within Brahman, where there is no past, future, there is only the now. There is no movement. But because of what God created, there is a past, there is a future. But that past and future only can exist within the creation, the illusory creation of God. That's the only way that that reality can exist. And it exists for your benefit. Now, shall I say, does it exist for God's benefit also? Yeah. And what does God get out of it? God gets out of it another developed soul that loves God. Does that increase God? Yeah, it increases if you would consider you have one friend and now you have two devoted friends that love you and that you are friends with. Does that make you happier if you have more than one or more than yourself? I know this sounds like rambling and it's very difficult to express. At least it's difficult for me. But in this particular reality, you cannot experience what they are talking about because you are a dynamic, changing, developing essence. A computer, for instance, does not change. It is what it is until input is given it. Without input, a computer will only experience the now. There's no future, there's no past, because internally it cannot make free will choices. But you, as an essence, make free will choices from the inside of you, from the very core of your essence. Within Brahman, you have free will choices, which makes you like God. And because of that, and given all the opportunities to develop within the illusory reality that God has created, you experience growth. I hope I'm making it clear. If not, ask me further questions and I will contemplate upon it and write something down that might make it clear. But I will close by telling you I love you. And I'm not just saying that again. I say this all the time. I'm not just saying that because I'm compelled to or because it's the right thing to say. I say it because I've seen the future. And I've seen into the common traits of individuals, of what they will be, maybe in the next lifetime, but certainly millions and billions of years from now. And I see people, like right now, there's a person communicating with me on my YouTube channel that is very frustrated. And I can't use the word angry because this person from their spiritual background finds it derogatory to dislike or hate. And so they're precluded from that. But if that were not the case, they would hate me for doing nothing other than denouncing their God, Shiva, whom I know to be the same exact individual as Satan. But the problem is when I say Shiva is Satan to people, they have a preconceived notion based upon Christianity. And Christianity created the character of the devil, Satan, which is a way to create fear in the minds of Christianity as a way to direct their free will towards being slaves to the organized religions, so that the individuals are basically entrapped by the fear of Satan or Shiva. But I don't see it that way at all, because I don't care whether Shiva or Satan is a good person, a bad person, a person of authority. I don't care. It matters not to me that this person is whatever it is they are. Maybe this Shiva is worthy of praise and is doing everything he can to help humans to become better people. I don't care. It makes no difference to me, because this deity does not understand the free will nature of love. And so I have zero hate for Shiva. I have zero hate for Satan. It's more of a I just don't care. It's more of I have seen, felt, known the love of Christ as being an exemplar of the love of Brahma. And I've seen the authoritarian powers, likewise, of Shiva. And I can understand why that people follow Shiva. It is no different than following an authoritarian president or a dictator, or essentially all the rulers on the planet today. When you think about the upcoming presidential election in the United States, and it might be a 50-50 break on voting, then clearly a lot of people see something in one candidate that they don't like and what they do like in another candidate. Or if it's not the candidate, at least it's the philosophy. And although that's not a perfect example of what I'm talking about, at least it denotes the concept that it's very possible that one is not pure evil and one is pure good, although that is the case in the difference between Shiva and Christ, or Vishnu. Vishnu, Christ, they're both the exact same person, if shall I say, just known by different names at different times in the world. But I don't have any harsh feelings for Shiva. I just am not of that proclivity. And I don't even care about that individual. I don't hate that individual. I don't know how to make that any clearer. I don't hate that individual. I just am not. It would be like meeting in your youth, at least for me, and it was in my youth, the difference between different women, girlfriends. And I met lots of them. But I only truly was attracted to one of my many friends that were female. I was only attracted to one that I felt like I could fully have an eternal friendship with and love. I didn't hate any of the other ones. In fact, I had many girlfriends in high school. Many girlfriends in high school. Because I liked them as a friend. Not because I wanted to get in their pants and all of that sort of thing. I liked them because I liked them as friends. But only one was I attracted to that I wanted to love in this physical lifetime as my lifetime companion. And so that's the way I feel about Shiva or Satan. I feel the same way. They may or may not be bad. It doesn't matter to me. Because I'm not attracted to the nature of Shiva. I am attracted to the pure love of God. And that's why I say I love you. I know that those of you that listen, and listen because you're attracted to what you hear from my mouth, then that is the nature of love. So, I love you. And I again pray for you, and I hope the best for you. And I got to get going now so I can get some work done today, and I'll take some pictures. In fact, I'm going to pick up the camera right now if I can, and it's going to jerk all over the place, but I'm going to show you what the heck I'm doing. So I'll put my cell phone down and pick the camera up and swing it around and show you what I'm doing here. So you can see the baseboard and stuff and the carpet and everything. Well, that's going to be torn up, and in about a week or so you'll see a different you'll see, and there I am, woo. And you'll see a different oh golly, can you see those pictures of Helen and I, my wife and me, when we were in high school? Anyways, with no further ado, we'll talk to you later.